You guys, May is almost over. Where is our showcase? Maybe we'll see it soon. Hi out there, Miss me, Brianna. You're listening to No Limits, episode 95. I have my friend with me today, Sam. We murdered Taylor, so he's not here currently.
Yep.
He's working on reincarnation now, though, so just give him a little bit.
Best of luck with that.
You can find the video version of this podcast over on youtube.com/SaveTheGameMedia. You can also subscribe to the channel while you're over there. That would be super cool. If you'd rather listen to audio, we are on all your favorite podcast services. If you could leave us a review, that would be so super totally rad, bro. We also love feedback, so if you want to do that, if you want to leave feedback that says, please, Brianna, never say that sentence again, maybe I'll listen.
She won't.
If you do want to support Save the Game Media and get early access to all of our content, you can head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. It starts from $1. We even have a free trial, and that's $0. It's free dollars. And you get a lot of fun stuff. We have so many good podcasts, and I'm probably biased, but I think we do a pretty good job. We're just about at our 2-year anniversary for Save the Game Media, so we've got some time under our belt now.
Yeah. Look how little we've come, you know.
Yeah, you know, honestly,
look how little we've come.
Honestly, the fact that I didn't start the intro with a dad joke was pretty much a miracle. So, hold on, let me Google PlayStation dad joke.
No.
If you want to support us and get early, oh, I already said that. Okay, we have our patron list. I got it, you guys. I got it. We have Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Lindsay, Nicolette, Knight, Cypher, Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus Daniil, Lillian, Mimi J, David Hartright, Dave Harp, the Xbox Expansion Pass, Alpaca Tom, Lee Navarro, and Silicanet. Please go to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. Please. We're trying to get to a certain amount of subscribers. I didn't say anything, Sam. Hi, Sam. What have you been playing recently? What have you been up to? How are you? All of that fun stuff.
I am well. I am tired, but not for a bad reason. I am tired for being well rested. Probably too well rested. Probably what the problem is. I've come off of a 5-day long vacation, as you cretins over there say. It's a holiday. Went down to Cornwall, which people don't know, it's a lovely in the southwest, on the southwestern tip of England. Go there quite often. Haven't been there in a few years, so got some fresh sea air in my lungs. Had a run around with my dog on the beach. Yeah, it was good. I had a good time. Simultaneously glad to be back, you know, in home comforts, but also that means I'm back in the rat race. So, you know, busy. Time's coming. It's going to happen. There's the calm before the storm at the moment, but that's what I've got to deal with. So,
yeah,
I'm good.
I can't believe you made it through that past storm. Honestly, it kind of shocked me.
Yeah,
that was a real crazy one.
Yeah, wild. What have I been playing? A bit more Helldivers, not much, obviously. Most of this week I've been away, so I haven't had access to anything. But I played a little bit of Helldivers when I was back. I'm currently playing through Cat Quest 2. That was one of the free games that dropped on PlayStation Plus. Already played through Cat Quest 1, had a good enough time with it. I think I said that it's just mindless fun, which is what this is turning out to be. So that's fine by me. Bit of a a junk food kind of game, which is fine. Of course, I will be platinum. The main thing that I played, though, in a rare circumstance, is I've crossed enemy lines, Bree.
Oh no!
I've crossed
Oh
enemy
no!
lines onto the other side,
You
the
usually
green
do.
side, and I played through pretty much as soon as I got back, because I was chomping at the bit to find out for myself what I thought. I played through and 100%ed. I can't say platinumed yet, which sucks. But 100%ed Senua Saga Hellblade 2. Yeah, it's a thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing. I won't go too into details because me and Kevin recorded a near 2-hour spoiler cast yesterday as of time of recording. Live Patreons currently at time of recording, but by the time this goes live, will be available to everyone on the channel, Patreon or not. I highly encourage people to listen to it. No offense to anything we do here. I said to Kevin as soon as we finished recording that I feel that it's probably my favorite bit of content I've done. And I've done a lot of good stuff. I love the Spider-Man 2 spoiler cast. I obviously love recording this every week. I love the Alan Wake 2 spoiler cast as well. But there was just something about the conversation and the back and forth that we had with Hellblade 2. Generally though, and you'll know this if you're in the Discord, I think it's a good experience. I don't think it's a good game. And you know, whilst a game only be more of an experience than a game, that's fine. Hellblade tries to bridge the gap and cover all of its bases, and ultimately kind of falters at everything as a result. It's like a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. Outside of the visuals and the audio, then, as I said to Kevin, those are the two things that the first game got really right anyway. So they kind of just doubled down on those two things specifically, the visuals and the audio. And everything that actually needed to be improved has seen like no love whatsoever, and has actually like devolved where it's less interactive, less engaging, less strategic in combat. The puzzles are less varied. So Hellblade 1 I finished and I was like, wow, that would be really cool as a movie. And after finishing Hellblade 2, I was like, why wasn't that just a movie? And you could say that those are two similar sentiments, but I think that there is a distinction there. I think it's fine for people to try it on Game Pass. I encourage people, in fact, to try it out on Game Pass, but it's not something I would pay full price for. And by full price, I mean the $50 that they're currently asking for it. I don't think it's justifiable personally. And yeah, like I'm not going to go into it. We talked about it on the spoiler cast, but it is as a game in the wider scheme of Xbox in a weird spot where it's not going to shift the needle. It's seemingly not the kind of games that Microsoft certainly are looking for from first party anyway. Partnerships are different things in terms of second and third party, but from a first party studio that they have to fund, this game took a long time to come out. We've been seeing it for ages, and it took me 6 hours to finish. Not that short run times are a problem, but I feel like more often than not in those 6 hours, it was wasting the runtime that it had. So yeah, it's a weird one. Like undeniably, probably the best looking game on console today. I said alongside Horizon Forbidden West, but obviously one is very linear and one is open world. But yeah, it's strange. I think that Hellblade 1 is demonstrably better in essentially every single aspect outside of course, visuals, which ultimately isn't really what most people, I would say, are looking for when they're talking about a game as opposed to an alternate form, a medium in terms of entertainment. So not terrible, but also not great, and ultimately pretty disappointed on the whole.
Okay. Love the TLDR.
But we get into real good conversation, both in terms of the actual content and breaking down the different elements of the game and combat and puzzles, but also Kevin presents a theory about the game that I was convinced live in the recording, and I now subscribe to that theory. Yeah, I highly encourage people to check it out. And again, check out the game. It's going to take you maybe 2 sittings to finish, and then go check out the spoiler cast.
You haven't watched Taylor and I play games, apparently.
But yeah, fair. Like, you're certainly the wrong person to say that to. But to the sane people, the people in the audience, you can finish this game very easily. The game asks almost nothing of you in terms of getting to the end. So yeah, it's a weird one. One of the weirdest feelings I've had around a game in a long time, I think.
Okay.
What about you? What have you been playing, etc., etc.?
I've been doing well. Nothing crazy going on this week. And I have not personally been playing much. I picked Ultros back up. Still so beyond confused. I think I'm supposed to be confused. It's very like Metroidvania. I am kind of getting to the point with that game where I think I'm a little too confused, and I'm either going to have to like Google something or I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm giving it just like a little bit more time before I'm like, okay, I really don't know what's going on. The game doesn't have a lot of dialogue in it. It has visuals, but the visuals are like, I mean, the visuals of the game itself are insane. I'm sure you've seen like Ultros. It's like this crazy psychedelic game.
From the artist behind Hotline Miami, I think, if I remember correctly, which explains a lot.
Yeah. So but like not the art as in like how the art looks, but like the art is in like the interpretation and the messaging behind the art is very confusing sometimes. And by sometimes I mean like it literally is like corrupt data. So I'm like, I don't even like this thing that's supposed to be communicating to me like what's going on in the story is like corrupt data and I don't know what's going on. Who knows? I'm gonna fight as long as I can and use Google if I have to try and play this game. But I'm just confused at this point. And the game feels like really empty. Like there's not like the game is like visually stunning, but like there's barely any enemies. There's not really anything going on, so I just feel lost. But
sounds quite a lot like Animal Well.
Yeah, Animal Well, I definitely only played for like 20-30 minutes. So I like did not give it enough time to be a game. But withholding my judgment because these kinds of games are like some of my favorite genre of games.
Sure. So it is like, I don't know specifically. This might be common knowledge. It is Ultros another Metroidvania type game.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. It definitely like does like I mean, there's always something like a little bit different about the Metroidvania kind, but yeah, it's what's so funny is that like I have like 3 games that I'm like that I need to play and they're almost the same genre in different ways. So I have this and I have Animal Well and then I have another Crab's Treasure, which is like a little bit more Dark Soulsy and open rather than Metroidvania, but kind of in the same vein. So we'll be getting through those eventually. I've just been reading a lot. I think I read like,
of course.
What did I tell Kyle? I think I read 7 books now 8 books in the last 7 days.
Jesus.
So I have been reading a lot. The other thing that I've been doing is my dad is playing God of War 2018. So his girlfriend is currently out of town. So usually around like 9 p.m. I'll go downstairs and like crochet while he plays the game. So that he can yell at me as he tries to do stuff in the game. He'll be like, Brina, I pressed the button. I'm like, well, Dad, it didn't do anything. So I don't think you did press the button, but what do I know? Anyways, so he just yells at me all the time while he plays that game, and it's funny. So that's what I've been doing in the video game space. I will say I'm gonna keep this so quick, you guys, because we gotta keep a tight episode. But I did end up Googling dad jokes, and I found some of them. This one cracked me up. Did you know I'm an expert at remembering PS4 launch titles? Some would say I have a knack for it. Sam's trying so hard not to laugh. I could see it. And let's see. What did the English do immediately after winning the FIFA World Cup? Turn off the PlayStation. Okay, and then the last one, which really cracked me up. It says, "Oh no, PlayStation and Xbox online services are down. Someone call an ambulance. Wii U, Wii U, Wii U." That one really got me when Sam was talking earlier, and I started laughing. It's because I read that. I was like, "Oh no, Wii U, Wii U." Okay, those were the three that I had to sneak in, you guys, because listen.
I completely forgot to mention. You know how like it's seemingly a tradition now where every week I say I'm done with an eBay haul, and then
Yeah, and then you get something else.
I'm clearly not. I am like, I know I've said this. I am done now.
That's what you said.
Because there is stuff that I've been looking at, but nothing has ever really co-aligned. And if something is like dirt cheap, then I may do it, but I'm not actively looking anymore. The only thing that I did pick up was a copy of Final Fantasy 16.
Okay.
Because obviously I have digital access to it, but because I love that game so much, I did want to have a physical copy in the same way that, you know, Life is Strange or The Pathless or whatever. I wanted to own a physical thing of it. Pristine copy. It's lovely. So it did tempt me to dive back into it, but I've got too much stuff on my plate otherwise. And I won't be seeing it for probably till the end of the year. But I did also, speaking of Animal Well, bite the bullet and secure a physical copy through Limited Run.
Nice. I'm getting my physical copy of Outer Wilds here soon, I think. Was that what I ordered? Hold on.
So jealous. So jealous. I probably will pick up like a regular, like standard copy of Outer Wilds. But yeah, that whole Voyagers edition or whatever it is called. So tempted.
I can't find my order. Don't worry, you guys. I have a whole app to track my orders because I shop online way too much. You know how it is.
Of course.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get going here on our news. We are going to find out what the news is as you do, because in our document today is just links.
Oh.
Do you want to take? Oh wait, you don't have it open. Never mind. I was going to say I can take the second one.
I'm bringing the document open. You do the first one, but I'm getting the document open now.
Okay. So the first one is a group of tweets here. So recently Neil Druckmann did an interview with Sony. Hold on, it's loading here. And he also has a thing about how he's going to revolutionize how content, you know, he's pulling a Kojima about how he's going to revolutionize games. So it says, the interview says, "Thank you." When I don't know what they're saying thank you to, but they're saying thank you. When I think about this question, I couldn't really obviously think of an answer. Like, I mean, there are these technologies out there, but I couldn't really imagine what the future can be. But obviously now I have a clearer vision, I guess. So I guess this is going to be my last question. Are we discussing your future? As we discuss future innovation, is there like a personal vision or dream project you hope to see realized in the realm of entertainment at this point? And he says, "Well, I've been very lucky in that this is Neil Druckmann, that I've already had that. I got the chance to make several of my dream projects. I'm working on a new one right now, and it's maybe the most excited I've been for a project yet. I can't talk about it or our bosses will get very mad at me. And I guess in general, there's something happening now that I think is very cool, which is there's a new appreciation for gaming that I've never seen before. Like when I was growing up, gaming was more of a kid's thing. Now it's clearly for everyone. But it's like if you're a gamer, you know about the potential of games, and non-gamers that they don't really know what they're missing out on. But my hope was when we made The Last of Us as a TV show that we could change that. And why I became so involved with it. I wanted so badly for it to be good because I wanted this to happen, which is like someone who will watch the show and really like it and fall in love with those characters the way that we have fallen in love with those characters and their story. And then realize in the end, wait, that's based on a video game? And then go check out the game and see the wealth of narratives and everything that's happening in games. So now I feel like there's a spotlight on gaming. And, you know, Fallout just came out and that's a big success for Amazon. And I find that really exciting. Not because games need to be movies or they need to be TV shows, but I think it just kind of opens the eyes of a bunch of people that just weren't aware of the kind of experiences that exist in games. Yeah, he kind of just goes on and says the same stuff. Let's see if there's anything else. So you're asking about my dream projects. I've been very lucky to have worked on my favorite games with incredible collaborators, and I'm very thankful for them. So that is one of the quotes here. So yeah, I think he's just excited about changing the perception on video games in the mainstream audience. That's not like our video game focused friends. And I mean, I do agree with him. I do think that that's something that's really been incredible. Like watching those kinds of things with like your family, right? Like my dad's girlfriend will never ever. She's like, I'm not playing games, period. My dad he was in the middle of playing The Last of Us when the show came out. So yeah, I think that it's able to guide people towards the video game industry and see how cool it is, because it is really cool.
The crux of this story though is the controversy surrounding it, where as you said, it's an investor call, or not an investor call, but an investor meeting, you know, laying out the future for Sony and therefore PlayStation, and Neil was asked to speak there. But after the fact, Sony essentially morphed his words and changed what he said. What you read out is what he said, but Sony essentially boiled it down to that Naughty Dog's next game is going to revolutionize the way that people look at gaming. And there was some clapback to that, saying that one, Neil is probably setting himself up for failure by saying something like that. He's too aloof, he's too cocky. You know, what does this mean? How is it going to revolutionize? And Neil then came out himself and posted the full comment that he made in response to the question. And whilst there is still like the sentiment there that the goal of Naughty Dog, including its next game, is to try to continue to push boundaries and reshape the way that the mainstream public look at gaming, it's more that there was a misconstrued comment there, where X doesn't quite equal Y, even though there are similarities in what was ultimately said, that the nuance lost.
Okay.
So I think overall a mountain was being made out of a molehill, and inherently you have to keep in mind that this is a meeting with investors. So Neil would have been prompted to be more buzzwordy anyway. And Sony likes the headlines of suggesting that Naughty Dog's next game is going to revolutionize gaming and blah, 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 blah. They would want to push that narrative to build up the trust and faith from their investors to invest more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's just a weird thing that happened over the past week, where I think Neil came out on, I mean, it might have been on Twitter, but I think it started on Threads, technically, but he came out and he's like, I want to set the record straight. My words have been skewed here. Because there was some vitriol, most of it, I think, you know, stupidly placed. because this is no different to like Sarah Bond saying that the next Xbox console is going to be the biggest leap you've ever seen, or we believe in generations from Jim Ryan. It's like they're all just saying things to get both the fan base excited and the investors excited. Don't read too much into it. That being said, I'm sure that whatever Naughty Dog is doing next will be amazing, as every other game that they put out has been amazing. And probably something that they are already not necessarily fully shaping, but trying to shape to some degree to allow for a TV show or a movie adaptation of that next thing. Considering how successful The Last of Us was. And we might as well bring it up here, but it's essentially been confirmed via a LinkedIn post that Naughty Dog's next game is going to be a new IP. Which
that
would
link
make
was
sense.
broken. Somebody deleted their post.
It would co-align with this sentiment of, you know, this next project from Naughty Dog is one that Druckmann thinks he's the most excited about that he's been for a project thus far. And if you are trying to shake the industry to whatever extent or redefine perceptions, whatever, it's much easier to do that with a new IP than with a Last of Us Part 3. I would say, because Last of Us Part 3 is not a known quantity, but you kind of like, you've already redefined the industry and shaken perceptions with The Last of Us. So it's hard to repeat that with the same franchise. So doing a brand new thing and blowing people away in that regard is probably an easier sell and somewhat easier to accomplish, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about it, that I think, actually, I don't want to speak, I'm going to put words in your mouth, but I'm pretty sure we have discussed this in months prior where we're both on the same page. Taylor too, I think that we want to see something new out of Naughty Dog first.
Yes.
Before The Last of Us Part 3. So this is reassuring. Suck at people who say, you know, PlayStation doesn't have any new IP. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I think that I do think that they're like, I'm hopeful that their new IP will hit next, and then the next and then the next Last of Us to tie things up with that as like a trilogy, and then off from there.
And it's so weird because you know how successful and how mainstream and beloved Last of Us isn't as an IP now, so you could understand the desire, particularly from shareholders and Sony, to milk that franchise for as much as it could possibly give you, extending beyond a trilogy. But I think that Naughty Dog have the creative license, as they've reiterated multiple times, to do what they want. And I feel like with Neil saying in that Last of Us Part 2 documentary at the end, saying, I think there's one more story to tell. I do hope that is true, as you say, that they wrap things up in a trilogy, tie it nicely up, or not, you know, leave it up to interpretation or whatever they want to do for the ending, and then move on and really strive forward and do something new and different. Presumably additional installments in this new IP, and then maybe something new after that as well. So I don't want them going back to Uncharted or anything. Like, I would love an Uncharted, but it doesn't need to be from Naughty Dog. I don't want them to not waste their time doing that, but I want to see new stuff from them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for tying up that story for me. I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yes, it all happened very quickly. So I'm surprised I managed to clock it, because I didn't have Wi-Fi when I was away, so I was on like data and scrolling through, but I'm terminally online anyway as part of my job, so that's that.
Do you think you'd be terminally online anyways? Because I would argue you probably would.
I mean, to an extent, but certainly not as much as I am. Because the job certainly demands, or certain aspects of my job certainly demand, that I need to be not literally ready at the drop of a hat to write an article about something, but essentially. So most of that is mandated by myself to want to be in the know so much that I can do those things and be reliable. But there is a degree where it's not expected, but sort of it's a bonus if you are.
Yeah.
So that's that really.
Okay. You want to hit the second one?
Yes, I mean it's the for some reason my laptop is just deciding not to load the link, so I'm going to be looking at my phone whilst I'm reading these. I'm not, I'm very clearly paying attention because
He's not paying attention. You guys, this is why we can't deal with Sam. He does this all the time.
So, according to Deal Labs and reliable leaker Bill Kun, a new Astro Bot game is expected to be announced within the next 15 days, a very specific window. You would have thought just say 14 days or 2 weeks or whatever, but 15. Maybe it is the 15th and final day. Maybe that's why they said it. Who knows? But he gave additional information saying that part of the game is set in a desert environment, and one of the new characters is, quote, a fennec fox in the form of a robot, end quote. And seemingly, according to Bill Wilkin, it is just a PS5 game and won't have any VR integration. And then Jeff Grubb
No, I'm just kidding.
Replied to Wario sharing this news via his Twitter. Grubb tweeted saying, quote, May still isn't over, so I still think we get a PlayStation event next week. I still don't know if it's a showcase or state of play. I agree with everyone saying that if it was a showcase, we'd hear about it today, that being Friday that's just passed as of time of recording. I've just heard a PlayStation thing in May, end quote.
So, Sam, do you think we're getting a state of play in May? Do you think there's going to be a new Astro Bot game? And do you think there's going to be a Fennec Fox? The third question is the most important one.
I mean, there is too much smoke for there to not be a fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there has to be something. Now, obviously, it has to be this week if it's going to be in May.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That is how it works. But I think I'm consistent in my commentary that over the past few weeks, I've said that it is disconcerting to me that we don't know whether it's a state of play or a showcase. And whilst the nomenclature of the event is ultimately irrelevant if the content is there, for example, the last couple of state of plays have been demonstrably better than last year's showcase. But again, the sentiment is that if people have heard of a few things that are going to be at this event, and they aren't the big heavy hitters that would be indicative of a showcase, that has me slightly concerned that we aren't going to get the big blowout that we're kind of hoping for and really kind of needing at this point as a community, as a ecosystem. So I do think PlayStation they're in a position, particularly with how dire things have been for Xbox this year alone. I would argue, and I don't think this is copium, PlayStation technically, even in the last few months, might feel more emboldened than ever that they can do whatever they want. That they can still have a showcase this coming week and announce it a day or two before and be relatively confident in the fact that people will show up. Because I think that is true. I think that they are in a more powerful position now than they have been arguably ever in the console space. And that isn't, I'm not saying that is guaranteed or that is fact or that is what's happening, but I think that there is an argument that can be made that maybe they do feel emboldened where relatively inconsequential, but you would expect like a week's notice for a showcase. That has historically been the case.
Now, Sam, I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
How bad is this audio quality, guys?
It's actually not that bad.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm on.
Who's this bozo?
I don't know. 25
Who let him
miles
in?
from where I usually am. But I'm like, why not see if I can crash it from my phone for a few minutes?
Yeah, yeah. Now I have a question for you that I've been thinking about a lot. Have you been assaulted by cicadas/crickets yet?
Nope.
Okay. Lucky you, because I'm scared. I'm not leaving California for a while.
Oh man.
Too many bugs, you guys. Too many bugs. Well, anyways, this is our friend and co-host Taylor. Come to storm the castle.
Hey, friends.
We were just talking about the new Astro Bot game, potentially.
Yes.
I really hope there is a Fennec Fox. That might be what finally convinces me to play Astro Bot.
Wait, why don't you want
It's
to play
literally
it?
free on your console. Brie.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
deleted it a long time ago.
Why would you do?
Immediately. I
Oh.
said, ugh.
It's one of the best games on PS5.
It is.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Inexcusable.
You guys are the ones that let me on this podcast.
Well,
I'm
me
going
and
to ditch
Taylor
it,
will
so.
just carry it. We both
That's
love
okay.
Astro Bot.
That's okay. That's okay.
And weirdly, the rumor is, as far as I know, that there isn't like a subtitle or anything, so the game would just be called Astro Bot.
Again?
Well, there hasn't been a game just called Astro Bot.
Oh, what was the first game called? Oh, Playroom or something like that?
Well, the PS4 pack-in thing that introduced the character was just the Playroom. Then the VR thing was Rescue Mission. Then PS5 launch pre-installed is Astro's Playroom. And I guess the idea is that if it is a fully fledged, full-blown, full-length platformer, they want this to be like the real kickoff to what could be a franchise IP type thing, and for people to know that this is like the start of something, rather than Astro Bot, another subtitle where people might get a bit
The
confused.
start of something new.
So we take down Mario.
Exactly, I would say so.
Or for fanfics, you could have Astro Boob, Astro
I'm
Booty.
really upset with the fan fiction community right now. They've failed me for the last time.
This is exactly what Sam was
That's
thinking about.
categorically incorrect because you'll go crawling back to them time after time.
Yeah.
We know that's
Yeah, no, I will. But like, why is there no Dark Souls fan fiction that is not just porn? I need something that's I just wanted more lore. That's all I wanted.
You're looking for a very strange subsect of a very niche thing there.
I'm telling you, there's like 6,000 fan fictions between Bloodborne and Dark Souls.
It's because everyone who writes the fanfics are people alone in their early 20s.
They're
right?
sick little freaks. It's okay.
Anyway, to Astrobot. Dude, if we get an Astro universe,
Astroverse.
Astroverse, well, we're already in Astro space, so. But if it turns into a thing,
The MCU of Astrobot.
like every 3 to 5 years, new Astrobot, I will,
I
You'll
know.
be excited.
Yeah.
I'll be excited. Wait, guys, I have a physical here I can show you that isn't at my apartment.
Oh
But
my
I
God.
wasn't lying when I told you I got the collector's edition of God of War 2018.
Oh, fancy. Look at that butt. There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
That's really cool.
yeah. Anyway, as if I wasn't already interrupting rudely this enough.
No, it wasn't
How
rude
dare
at
you.
all. Hey.
It was pretty rude, but
Sam.
that's fine.
Showcase fun, Astrobot fun. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Like
you
it'd be
fucked
really.
with Sam.
Isn't it going to be really weird if PlayStation is the one that revives the mascot platformer?
It
That's
would.
a
I
really
mean,
strange idea,
did Xbox
but it's
have
possible.
a mascot platformer?
I mean, well, not currently. That's what I mean. In terms of like reviving the genre for the platform.
I guess
holders.
Ori's the closest you get.
Yeah, and like historically, it would be something like Banjo, right?
Right. I was thinking Banjo.
Um,
Nuts and bolts, my fave. on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, and like technically, Ratchet and Clank could be considered
Oh, it's
that,
true.
but it I don't know if Ratchet is regarded specifically as a mascot platformer, whereas Astro Bot is like solely essentially the platforming element, as opposed to the shooting as well in Ratchet. So I love that. And Taylor, you know, Bree, I'm not talking to you because you don't play good games.
Taylor's gone.
But
Goodbye.
Taylor, I've heard, and this isn't like a rumor or anything, but I've heard people speculating of like, what if this Astrobot game, like Astro's Playroom, was a love letter to PlayStation and all the different eras? What if every level of this new Astrobot game is based on a different PlayStation IP?
That would be really cool.
Completely
I would enjoy that.
themed.
They
Ghost
just,
of
you know, it would be
Tsushima
so funny
level.
is that they just like gave them the assets, like they just handed over the asset for the level.
Yeah, just a fully rendered bloater from Last of Us walks on screen, and Astro's just staring up at him.
Yeah.
But no, I think that like Astro has kind of like synonymously now already for people in the know become something that is about a love letter to PlayStation. So I think that it would make sense to expand upon that and keep that kind of sentiment going for the brand. But I also understand if they just want to make a regular but still innovative and compelling platformer. Yeah, I think that worked really well for Playroom, so I'd love to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Different takes on the IP and not cutify, kidify it, but in a, like you say with the Fennec Fox as a robot, right? I think having those kind of depictions of different PlayStation characters would be quite cool, especially if they pull on some of the back catalog stuff that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I guess we
Yeah.
shall see, you guys. I would really love if like the state of play that's coming is like announced like as this goes live on Tuesday. That would be pretty funny. And
Probably.
then our whole discussion was for nothing. But
Yeah.
but there's no news as of now, you guys. You have to remember. Before we move to the let's see here. Before we move to the next story, I did want to confirm it is the Outer Wilds Collector's Edition. I just wanted to double check because I was like, am I crazy? I feel like I ordered it. I did order it. It actually wasn't too expensive. So and I'll have a new version of Outer Wilds.
The shipping's what killed that dream for me.
The shipping wasn't expensive for me because it's not coming very far.
Yeah.
Different pond.
Yeah. Weirdly, the shipping on the Animal Well one, I mean, I guess it was just a standard edition, so it was lower, but it wasn't that bad. Hence why I pulled the trigger on it. But I was also compelled to maybe do the collector's edition on that, but I didn't. I was responsible.
I'm so proud of you. I do think that you deserve a treat yourself moment. But you didn't ask me. If you had asked me, should I get this, it would have helped.
Bree, I'm telling you now, if this Astrobot comes out and there's a physical release and it has a collector's edition and you get a life-size statue of Astrobot, I am buying it.
Do you think you could buy a life-size thing of Astrobot right now?
There's probably something. It's not going to be licensed, I don't think, but like on Etsy, I can't imagine that there is like a statuette, hand sculpted or 3D printed type thing. I know you can get like nano droids or whatever they're called of Astrobot. It's like a cute little actual.
Nedroids, yeah.
Yeah. I know those are the thing, but
yeah,
I'd want like a big statue with like LEDs inside the statue that you can turn on and light up his eyes, and maybe even have like an LED display that has his eyes like doing different expressions and stuff. That'd be dope.
That would be cool.
It's not going to happen, but
okay,
one can dream.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, next story, you guys. Black Ops 6 will be on last gen consoles. So we have some information. This is, from Insider Gaming from Grant Taylor Hill. That sounds like a cowboy name if I've ever heard one. Anyways. Information regarding Black Ops 6 has surfaced online, specifically concerning the game's pre-order status at GameStop. In an image shared online, it appears that GameStop is preparing to accept pre-orders for Black Ops 6 on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X consoles. That means it will be appearing on a console that that many consider defunct, past tense, defunct almost 4 years ago when PlayStation 5 was released. Insider Gaming has been able to verify with multiple sources that the image is legitimate and that Black Ops 6 will be coming to past generation consoles. As for why the image does not feature an Xbox One version, it is understood that the Xbox Series S/X version is a cross-generation version, meaning it will also work on Xbox One.
See, that doesn't make any sense to me because surely the same would be true of the PlayStation version.
No,
It's
PlayStation is
cross-generation.
not as nice with backwards compatibility. So
I mean, sure.
it doesn't surprise me on the PlayStation. But yeah, there's like a little image that you guys can see online that's like Black Ops 6 is coming. It's the new SKUs are available, all that fun stuff.
I mean, this is basically off the heels of the revelation that came out that, like for PlayStation specifically, half of the monthly active users are still on PS4, which is unsurprising considering like 110 million or whatever PS4s out in the wild. But the question is why aren't they making the jump over? And that's for a variety of reasons that you could easily get into and debate, but makes sense that you want, particularly if they're putting Call of Duty on Game Pass, which I think is a bad idea, one that they're forced into making, but one that is a bad idea. You really need to make sure you're raking in the money from many places as possible. So whilst I think it's ultimately going to be a detriment to the game to some extent in terms of limiting what its scope and potential is, it does make sense to keep the install base for the game as wide as possible so that Xbox can maximize profits off of it from all of those PS4 players who don't feel inclined to jump to next gen yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that it makes sense for it to be on PlayStation 4, but I do also, I mean, they need as many sales as possible. Just being honest.
Because I am of the opinion that if Call of Duty wasn't in Game Pass, maybe this year it would happen regardless. But I think if Call of Duty isn't in Game Pass, it probably would be next gen only. Because the way I frame it in my head is that if it's next gen only, and I mean technically this is true even if it is in Game Pass. If it's next gen only, and people have to make the jump from PS4 or Xbox or whatever, and they're making a choice, inherently Xbox lines itself up as the better option there because they can get it through Game Pass. Obviously, it's not that simple because digital libraries, blah, 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 blah. We beat that horse to death multiple times. But yeah, it's weird that by putting it in Game Pass, it's paradoxical almost when I think about it. That they put it in Game Pass, so they're declining probably millions of sales on Xbox hardware. So it makes sense to then expand that to previous gen, where the install base on PS4 specifically, obviously Xbox One would still get it through Game Pass. Where PS4, you can maximize profits there, but by doing so, you are continually disincentivizing those players from making the jump to your hardware, or the other competitors' hardware. So it's strange that you need to go to those people, but by going to those people, you're also keeping them there. Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange.
Yeah, we live in strange times. I think that we're definitely seeing a lot of stuff that feels like it's like natural that it's happening, but also unexpected. But I guess we'll just have to watch. It's like watching some sort of like crash happen where you're like
in slow motion.
Yeah. You can't look away.
Yeah, it's been happening all throughout the year, and I think it's going to continue. It's just kind of, I'm at the point now where I'm like, just speed crash, just get this, let it happen.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
yeah.
So
It's like
just get it over and
here we
done
go.
with.
It's like a train wreck, but we don't know how long the train is.
Yeah, the carriages just keep coming. So for God's sake, how long are the carriages at the back of the train going to pretend that the front hasn't already crashed? It's like,
Yeah.
you derailed here. There's no need to keep going here. But
Okay.
anyway, moving on.
Next one.
Coming from Push Square, we have a report about the next Doom game. So ahead of next month's Xbox Games Showcase, Outlet Insider Gaming has posted a new report claiming that Bethesda plans to announce a new Doom game during the live stream called Doom: The Dark Ages. Sources have told the website that the new title out of id Software will be, quote, medieval inspired, end quote, essentially confirming it to be a prequel to the PS4 reboot and Doom Eternal. That's not all. In a separate tweet, insider Nate the Hate, and I think this has been afterwards corroborated by Insider Gaming, the game will be revealed as a multi-platform game with a PS5 version announced there and then during the show. Following the release of Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment Grounded, and Sea of Thieves on PS5, PS4, and Switch, it was assumed Microsoft would continue its multi-platform efforts with more ports. To us, a brand new game with a PS5 version right alongside the X and S is quite a significant step above those late ports, however. Will it be the only Xbox game to be revealed for Sony consoles? Who knows? I don't think so. Like, this is best case scenario to me, because it seemed like a foregone conclusion, I think, to most people, including myself, that you are, which is something that nobody else has done, whether it's Nintendo or PlayStation. Through any of the acquisitions that they've made, they don't strip games away from other people. You know, none of Housemarque's big games have been on Xbox. None of Bluepoint's big games have been on Xbox. And obviously that stands for Insomniac, really, with the exception of, I guess, Sunset Overdrive, but that wasn't a big success.
You can't talk about Sunset Overdrive like that.
I mean, it wasn't a big success. And also, we haven't seen that IP resurface since, right? So it's not like a Sunset Overdrive 2 has come out and it was PlayStation exclusive. Whereby, you know, people were saying, oh, well, after the Bethesda acquisitions and the ABK acquisitions, they're going to make all this stuff exclusive. And I was like, well, one, that would be done because you're losing out on massive sales. Two, you are actively stripping away games in historically multi-platform franchises from arguably the biggest install base that it will find outside of PC. And three, it's like, why? I don't understand the logic, because you bought them because they're big games, they're blockbusters, they make you lots of money, and the first thing you're going to do with them is make them make less money. So I've been crossing my fingers, hoping and praying that they weren't going to be dumb. And I think that this, assuming this is legitimate, which I have no reason to believe it isn't, this essentially guarantees to me that like Fallout and Elder Scrolls and all of those will be multi-platform. Day one.
Yep.
I think. And the only incentive or bonus that Xbox players have is Game Pass, obviously, assuming that they don't bin the whole thing. So yeah, I'm glad this is a win for everyone. To be clear, it's a win that PlayStation players that love Doom, including myself, still get to play Doom on our preferred platform, and Xbox players will get it in Game Pass. Nobody loses here, and there was a scenario that this could have played out where a lot of people lost. And the console warriors can be like, damn it, what, we could have really rubbed it in Sony ponies' faces and not let them have this or that. So what are you doing? You know, what are you doing?
Yeah. Um, as we were saying, it's just another chunk of the train just slowly coming,
Yep. One would have
slowly
thought
joining the
people should be able to
crash.
see a mile off, but apparently not. Apparently, there are people either still
This
in
is
denial
shocking.
or just
Hmm.
unable to see that what is happening and will continue to happen.
That's okay. Denial
Yeah,
is a river in Egypt, so
indeed. But a medieval Doom sounds cool.
it does. It
I
does
think.
actually sound really cool.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I don't think I've ever played a Doom game. Doom game.
I
Write
mean,
it
to
down
be
real
fair,
quickly.
it's a first-person shooter and is incredibly fast. So I think that counts you out
Well,
almost
yeah. So I
immediately.
mean, what's so interesting about Doom for me is that Doom is actually the game that I have the oldest memories I have of video games is Doom.
Hmm.
Because my dad when he was much younger he used to play it. He had like his PC set up. And he used to play it like a very very long time ago, and I remember sitting and watching him play. And that's the first game I remember. I don't know if it's like the first game that I ever watched, but it's the first game that I remember watching. So maybe this one will be like a medieval one will convince me. If it's a bow or a crossbow, I'll be fine. Don't ask me how that
Well,
works.
the only thing that we have to go on that isn't just that it was, because I think in the FTC leak it was called Doom Year Zero, which people like that sounds like a prequel, and obviously now it's seemingly been renamed as to the Dark Ages.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things floating around right now, mentioned like a few years ago, but sort of makes more sense now with this information, is that one of the directors on either Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal, I can't remember which one, might have been the same guy actually, but somebody high up in the design side of Doom reboot was on the record saying that he would be interested in the idea of slowing Doom down and have it, I think he said he framed it as having you be more of like a slow moving brute tank type thing as opposed to a deadly race car kind of thing. So maybe alongside the whole crossbow, sword, claymore, mace, whatever stuff that probably will be in this game, if it's slower paced, that might also be another incentive for you to try it out, that it isn't
What are you saying?
insanely frenetic.
What are you saying, Sam? Are you saying I can't play fast video games?
I would pay good money to see you try and play Doom Eternal.
Okay.
I don't think you.
This is very easy to arrange.
I give you 15 minutes tops.
Where can I play it? Hold on.
Ow.
What platforms we got? Oh, it's on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Silly. So yeah,
Yeah,
I could
like
figure it out
that's
on my
that's sort of
PlayStation or my PC.
that's the whole shebang.
You want me to
that,
play?
You know,
You want me to play Eternal, not 2016? Just clarifying.
I mean, Eternal is way faster than 16.
Okay, that's all that needed to be said.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will add it to my wish list, and then if it goes on sale.
Yeah. That's going to be a real messy 10 minutes before you give up.
I don't know, like, why you think that I will. I'm really bad at games, but
yeah, there we go.
but I would be fine.
But you are also on the record saying
Doom Eternal
that you
is
get
included in
overwhelmed very
PlayStation
quickly.
Plus.
That sounds right, I think.
All right, I added it to my library.
Are also on the record saying that you get overwhelmed very easily and you aren't great at first-person shooters.
Saying that I'm not great at first-person shooters is like an overstatement. I mean, you've now report in, you guys. Sam has now played a third-person shooter with me. Yeah,
but those are fundamentally different experiences.
That I have voluntarily been switching into first person for some reason.
Probably accidentally. You know,
No,
just why
it
is
really
it first person
wasn't.
all of a sudden?
Well, the thing is like when you okay, this actually kind of bugs me. I think it should be different. Maybe I'm crazy, but when you, because I have like one of the big weapons that I take is the sniper rifle, basically. And when you click to look through the scope, that's the word I was looking for. I was like, huh? When you click to look through the scope, if you switch weapons, it'll stay looking through the scope, even if the gun doesn't really have a scope. So you'll be holding like your little gun, and it's like a little tiny baby scope. So yeah, I mean, I can switch back, but I was like, eh.
Yeah.
So Sam has been astonished how good I am at video games. He's like, wow, Brianna, you're so good at this.
No, that's no, not even.
He's
close
really
to true.
encouraging. He's a really good friend, you guys.
Mm-mm. I'm willing for you to prove me wrong, but
I mean,
I have played Doom Eternal.
listen, I don't know, like the first person shooter part is the part that you should be worried about. Playing a really fast game is not what you should be worried about. I do high-end raids in Final Fantasy 14. I play League of Legends, which is really fast. Like that part,
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry about that.
But you
The
are, of course,
third and first person shooters are.
You are inherently overlooking the fact that it is a ridiculously fast first-person shooter.
The first person shooter part is the hard part. Okay. I'll stream it for you later. Okay. God. Twist my arm. Okay, you guys, let's finish up the last two stories here. We're just gonna make these quick. One is Jeffrey Wright, who played Isaac for The Last of Us Part 2, is going to reprise his role in Last of Us Season 2, which is now filming in Vancouver and will be released in 2025. Yay to all of that.
Hell
all
yeah.
of that.
Jeffrey Wright's a great actor.
Okay, it's so fun. I love that they're using some of these actors again, like where they can. Like, love that. So cool.
But I think this is the first time that the actual actor from
Marlene
game is. Was that the same actress?
Yeah, Marlene was the same actress.
Ah, okay. I stand corrected.
Yes, you do. We also have other actors playing different roles, which I loved that as well.
Sure.
One Troy Baker, very handsome man.
And Ashley Williams.
Okay, you guys. Next is Istanbul Studio, Shadowfall Studios. What the? I just had a stroke. What the heck? Istanbul Studio, Shadowfall Studios becomes a PlayStation partner. So they just announced that they're going to be launching their next big title on PlayStation 5 consoles. Excited for them. Even if I did have a stroke reading that. Have they made something that I'm aware of? Like,
no. This
okay.
is the first project.
Okay.
And everything that I've seen on their website, it's certainly not a game for me, but clear that it is continuing the cycle of Sony, I think, very smartly extending and routing branches across the world for different areas of game development. You know, whether it's Shift Up is South Korea, right?
Yes.
South Korea? Yeah. So stuff like that, and obviously deep roots in FromSoft and whatnot, and then you go to this in Indonesia, and you have like Phantom Blade Zero, which is somewhere in Asia, I can't remember specifically. And you have partnerships with like Awaseb, and that's obviously in the sort of more Mediterranean region. So I think it's good. Who knows what this partnership could bear fruit for in a decade's time or something. I think the project, like I say, currently doesn't excite me, but that might something else might come of it that I do really like.
Okay.
And they might be really talented developers. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know anything.
PlayStation is supporting them, which is cool.
Yeah. Very exciting for them and for PlayStation. Congrats. Do you have anything else you want to add before we jump out? Okay. Well, you guys, we're going to keep it a little bit short today because we do have to do a post show today. We don't have to. We get to. And so we're going to go do that because Sam and I are both short on time today. Thank you so much for listening and for hanging out. Please let us know how you're feeling about the Astro Bot thing that just got announced as this went live. You can find us on YouTube at Save the Game Media. You can find us at Twitter, Save Game Media. Don't forget to check out the Discord. It's always in the description for our episodes. Yeah, all that fun stuff. Sam, where can people find you?
Anywhere and everywhere at Sam Heaney, Heaney.
Awesome. You can find me at Fabulous Brianna, FABULAST BREANNA. You can find Taylor in the Discord. We have a squad up channel if you want to play games with any of us. All that fun stuff. We will see you next week. Goodbye.